it's just a lot harder, and it's unfortunate because of the way it all came about, because we all know why it came about. It didn't come about just over time. It was actually a COVID thing, the way in which our government handled their finances during COVID.
What came over? The down payments came over time, or
The absolute crazy
the price
increases.
surge. Okay, yeah.
And so, and it wasn't specifically just that. It was really the quantitative easing process that our Bank of Canada did. And, you know, Justin Trudeau chooses not to fire anybody for these grave errors that have caused great damage to many people. And so we all have to live with it. So I do sympathize that it is difficult. Most of the buyers that we're finding are foreign activity in the lower price ranges, like under that $1.5 million price range. There's some activity happening there. Don't really see price growth but you know, what we advise our clients to not buy during the summer, or to not sell during the summer. If you wanted to buy. That's a good idea. If that timing was right for you and you were going to buy anytime anyways. But as sellers, we were saying stay away from that market. And you know, we're proved kind of right. The fall market had brought an extra $25,000 to $50,000 in money in their pockets by selling during the fall season. So it is kind of interesting to see that a couple of months of patience, when you know that you have to sell, getting the right advice to hit the right timing can actually really make a difference. And today, $25,000 to $50,000 is a fair amount of extra money in your pocket.
Yep. Okay. I have one more email from Andrew. Andrew says, so Randy made it. Was he getting his toenails clipped by Jackie?
What's tardy?
Okay, can you just let me talk, maybe?
Yeah, I just want to know what tardy. Well, I know what tardy is, but
yeah,
yes.
Okay. So what does it mean?
Well,
what does it mean?
It means that you weren't on time.
Yeah. So what? So why would you? I wasn't on time. So why are you asking me if I was tardy?
Because it just sounds.
Oh my gosh.
Girlish.
Anyways, no, I was not cutting his toenails.
Why would you use tardy though?
Anyways,
when
I apologize for my tardiness. I got caught up. Doing so many CMAs today, talking to clients, finishing up offer presentation from yesterday, and I honestly thought it was Monday. I'm not gonna lie. I thought it was Monday.
That's what happens when you're tardy.
Oh, you were tardy too? So what are you talking about?
You don't know. I wasn't. I definitely wasn't tardy.
Well,
no. Tardy would have been on time. Oh no, it's just
he does
off time.
So he doesn't know what tardy means.
No, I do remember it. I remember the older lady.
So that's why you asked
younger.
me if I was tardy, because you didn't know what it meant.
Hey Jim, they're back. So we have a
tardy.
From Alexander. Alexander says, hey, to the real estate show. Are folks leaning towards condos instead of homes, and are condos cheaper? Well, condos are definitely cheaper in terms of leaning towards condos. I'm not so sure about that. It depends on who's in the market. Like a new family, maybe. Like a young family, but
and price point.
And price point. But I think generally people want the home, right? Preferably detached. But yeah, so I wouldn't say they're leaning towards it. There's a lot more options out there. One of the issues with condos is you have the mortgage and you also have the condo fees, right? So another thing that people are kind of scared of. And with the condos fees, like they might be nice now or cheap now, but those things can go up at any time too, right? So.
Well, I was reading today also, not that it's totally related to this, but it is a condo that went bankrupt, and a lot of people lost their money. So, that's condo, but that's pre-con.
Oh, I think I saw that too.
Yeah, I think you got to be very, very careful with the pre-cons these days, because that's it. Yep. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. It's so there's a lot of people out there that are trying to
I guess it's just, I
Well,
guess a bit more info on that.
Stay. Oh,
I'll
go
I'll
ahead.
quickly on what she was saying. So
Okay, well, hold on, let's get to that
Yeah.
in a second, but let's answer the question directly, please. So,
Go ahead, sir.
Okay, so, you're asking about are people buying condos more? No, they're not. They're being forced into it based on price point. However, they're really rejecting it. And condo prices and condo activities because of that has dropped dramatically. Condo prices we're seeing dropping much faster than the average. For example, if we were go to Market Watch, if you punch up Market Watch for last month, you'll probably see something like this. I'm gonna make as I'm good at. We're gonna see detached homes down about, or the market down about 1%, but you can see condos probably down in the 3% range, something like that. Would that be correct, Anthony, from what you're seeing?
this is September, but
For condo apartments there,
those are down in the
at the
2 overall
Bottom right.
3.6.
3.6, and so for condos, okay,
Yeah.
so they're down like 3.6% as opposed to the market average of 1%. So that tells you that people are sort of rejecting the condo market, but we're also seeing condo inventories really spiking. And so we're seeing a
Yes.
ton of condos on the market. So they are pretty much the hardest inventory to move. And I think that if you are a condo buyer, because that is the only price point that you can afford, you cannot afford to get into the low-rise market, which would be the semis and stuff like that, because you can't, then be very picky. Take your time, negotiate hard, because the inventory levels are very, very strong. Okay, now you want to do that article?
The CMA
now
that
I-
I
Oh, you
did
gotta do it
today.
back.
I gotta find it. So yeah, but basically on what Jack was talking about, the title of the article was 117 home buyers out millions as Ontario builder admits to selling homes without legal approvals. So basically, I think they end up going to receivership, and a lot of people might end up losing a lot of their down payments. I'm not sure how much of it's insured or not, but pretty much I think this has been going on since 2021. It looks like I think some people have put in their money, yeah. So.
Yeah, Jackie was talking about that. So, they admitted that they're taking people's deposit wrongfully?
They admitted that they're selling without legal approval. So I'm assuming,
So
I guess that
that
goes.
would make
yeah.
all of it illegal, because if you don't have legal approval, why are you collecting deposits?
So one person in the article says, since December 2021, he's paid $100,000 of his life savings as down payment on the home, which was supposed to have been built by Sunrise Acquisitions.
So is Sunrise going to build, or no, they're in big trouble now?
I think they went to receivership. It says so.
Oh, shoot.
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
The homes are supposed to be built by April of next year.
and by the looks of it, there's
Oh, there's a lot
no
of
groundbreaking.
Yeah. There's
No groundbreaking.
a lot of ground, no green, but no digging or anything like that.
Yeah, looks like they cleared the lot, but that's about it.
Part of the more in the article says this isn't the first time a Sunrise Homes project has become insolvent.
Yeah. Wow. I'm bouncing back here. I've taken a look at the year-over-year change. Condos and townhouses are both down 4% year-over-year, while detached homes are down 1%. And semi-detaches is showing that it's pretty much balanced, down 0.5%. However, it's really important to understand that semi-detached is a very kind of rare product. There's not a lot of activity there. So that could be the difference in the sizes of them and the locations of them that would have brought an average price differential like that. So I wouldn't really take that much into account, but overall the market being down 1% in price. But if you're listening to the news, and as I had a discussion with one of our clients, and I told them, hey, listen, they've got a house sitting vacant, waiting for next year for the market to get better, because they want to sell their home in a better market. And I said that This person doesn't take my advice. They haven't taken my advice for quite some time, and they've missed the mark every time because so far, for whatever reason, I have no idea what it is. I've been very fortunate, and I've been dead on right. And he sent my wife an article.
Yeah, I was trying to find it now.
He sent my wife an article of some Yahoo talking about how the market is going to be much better next year.
Yes.
And
No, the investor group, they're called.
yeah, their investor group, and they have this great premonition from the Almighty that the market is going to be absolutely
And that
amazing
you
next
need
year.
to buy everywhere, Mexico, all over.
Yeah.
So he's like, Sister Rodney, please show Randy this and get him and basically let him know that what he's talking about is crap. And I'm like, dude,
Well, he's going
that's
to.
why you're losing your shirt, right, on
That's
everyone.
exactly why. You're going around listening to people who are supporting your point of view without anything. And so what these people are doing, they're trying to get people to invest with them. So
Yeah.
they're gonna say they say whatever it takes to say.
And that's
that
why
we
in the
get-
background, they got all this land and their kids are in the
Yeah,
pool.
and they're having a great time. But they are going to have a great time because they're going to have suckers like you believing that rainbows and sunshines are coming next year. And I don't believe it is. I believe next year is going to be a tough real estate year. There's something to be said for the fact that everyone was saying in March of 22, when it started to crash, that it's going to be better next year. Well, that was March of 23, and it wasn't better. So that's 1 year. Then March of 24 came, and it wasn't better. So, okay, so there they were saying it was going to be better. Remember, it's going to be better, and the banks are saying, well, they're going to lower the rates, and it's going to be better. They didn't lower the rates, it didn't get better. But now what they were saying is they're going to lower the rates, it's going to get better. And then they lowered the rates, and it didn't get better. And guess what? The Bank of Canada is probably going to make some incredible announcement very shortly, and they're probably going to lower the rates even 0.5%. And what do you think is going to happen? Everybody's going to run out and buy real estate? No. They're not going to run out and buy real estate. And why? Well, we just discussed one of the main reasons just a few minutes ago. The deposit is hard. Affordability is hard. Affordability without real estate is hard. Never mind with real estate. And so the market right now is just different. And for those of you that think it's going to be stimulated and go back to its regular marketplace anytime soon, quite frankly, is taking, what's that stuff, fentanyl or what? Does
What?
fentanyl get you
Fentanyl?
high? Or
Fentanyl.
is that just a filler thing that they put inside other drugs to make it
Fentanyl
more?
can kill you.
No, I know it can
Oh,
kill
that's-
you,
that's
but
when
does
they
it
put
get
in-
you
But
high?
it's
Does it make
also
you
what they give you at the
delusional?
hospital.
That's
very
the
low
thing where if it's
doses,
laced in
too.
your like drugs,
You
it kills
could die,
you.
yeah. But like, I know that the drugs get you high, but does the fentanyl get you high?
I think it just kills
I'm not
you.
sure.
I don't know.
No, but they do give it, they do give it to you at the hospital, a very, very low dosage. It's just that this is laced with crap, fentanyl and other crap that you don't even know what's in it, just like street drugs, like.
Well, then I rephrase then. For the people who think that next year is going to be all rainbow and sunshines, those people are on crack. And the other thing that is really important to know is for those of you who are in real estate, and you're promoting this like those people there, that should almost be criminal neglect, to be honest with you. The market is tough. People are hurting outside of real estate. So how is real estate going to fix all that? Real estate is the biggest commodity, let's call it, if we want to call it a commodity. It's the biggest one. It's the one that moves the slowest. It's not going to start all of a sudden because they do a rate hike, all of a sudden real estate goes crazy. No, there's a lot of steps in between. There's a lot of money that needs to turn hands in between before real estate sees that amazing spike. So I would say for the rest of you, for those, so I know we used to have around 10,000 listeners. I don't have a clue what it is right now because the CRTC stopped allowing us to find out how many people we have. It's because privacy. However, for the 10,000 or so listeners that are listening to us, I think it's important that you don't buy into any of that hoo-ha stuff. The truth of the matter is the market is moving slow. Slow moving markets don't adjust quickly, and typically if you have more inventory than you have sales, you're going to have a downward pressure on price, which is exactly what the environment that we're in and that we're looking at. So how does a downward pressure on price environment turn into a flurry of activity? I don't know.
Well, I think instead of listening to all this media and everything you hear, ask your realtor for a CMA of your area. That's going to tell you what's going on.
Depending on your realtor,
Well,
right?
If
the
they give
realtor
you a
has the skills
full
to-
CMA, then it'll tell you exactly what's going on in your area because that's the facts. News,
That's assuming that the realtor
I
has
just
those.
said
Because
if-
we just had two realtors there that have that are realtor investors, and they're talking really silly stuff. The other thing is that the government made some changes, some policy changes. Believe me, if they didn't make these policy changes, our market is in a lot of trouble. As Anthony pointed out, one where they are changing the down payment, where they're having CMHC insure another $500,000, so you can buy up to $1.5 million.
Also 30 years too, right? They changed it
Right.
amortization to 30 years, or up to 30 years.
So when they change, so let's deal with each one at a time. I don't know if I have them all memorized, but let's deal with each one at a time. So we got up to $1.5 million. So they've lowered the threshold. Let's say if you're buying $1 million home, it would have been you only need $75,000 down now instead of $200,000. That is helpful. So will that bring us more inventory, or will that bring more buyers? So it can't have any effect on inventory. It'll have no effect on inventory whatsoever because it will not create any homes. So that's one. So the only thing that it's really affecting is demand. And so, but our big problem is supply, right? We've all talked about this. There's just not enough supply. Bringing in a lot of new people into Canada, and you bring in a lot of new people, we don't have the residences for it, and that's causing an upward pressure on prices. So they need to build new homes. So that's why they were talking about they're going to build all kinds of new homes. But these are the policies that they're putting in, policies that spur on demand, which causes a worse issue in the market, does not allow the market to adjust properly. The next one is they allow a 30-year amortization. What does a 30-year amortization do for you? Well, before you were legislated to only be allowed a 25-year amortization. So now that you can do a 30-year amortization, what that means is instead of paying off your house in 25 pieces, you can pay it off in 30 pieces, which is 30 years, which would bring down the price that you would pay monthly. If you're bringing down the price that you would pay monthly, does that add more supply to the marketplace, or does that just help with the demand part, people being able to buy homes? So obviously, adding more amortization time to the purchases has nothing to do with building more inventory. So again, the problem that they're looking to solve, they haven't touched. They've worked on the buyer side. So that's two of the policies. What was the third? Oh, okay. So on refinancing, a third policy that they did on refinancing, you no longer are forced, which they had forced you with legislation. And I couldn't understand this when it came out. And I was actually quite disappointed that they put out a policy like this. But they had forced you to have to stay with your bank and not mandate you that you're not allowed to go to other banks if you purchased a home with less than 20% down. So then what happened was banks now could take advantage of that, since you can't go anywhere, and they could make refinancing rates higher. Because there was no competition. So the government created a policy that eliminated competition for banks when it came to refinancing, and they just rescinded it by not having the policy where you will have to qualify at 2% higher. So, but if you don't have to qualify for the stress test when you're refinancing your home has come up due, then that means that you can now shop. Is it more competition at refinance time? Because if your bank, that's whatever bank it is was before going to charge you 6%, well now they know that the banks down the street will only charge you 5% or 4.5%, 4.75%. They have to say, okay, we're going to lose all of our people if we do this, so they have to bring the rates down. So if this is what is going on, is this helping to bring more inventory to the marketplace? No, it doesn't. That has nothing to do with building homes. So that again is only helping people to be able to, which is a good thing, because that was a really stupid legislation to begin with. But it has nothing to do with bringing on supply to help the marketplace. So as we're seeing, and there was one other one, I guess I have to jog my memory, but as we can see, government policies that they're putting in place where they claim that they're going to help with the marketplace and with affordability, they've done absolutely nothing to help the average Canadian to be able to get a home, to create more inventory for the homes, or any of that. All they're really doing is unwinding some of the real silly policies that they had in place that was restricting Canadians from the freedom of purchasing homes.
Well, I guess I mostly agree with you in the sense that they're not really helping with the supply. The first one you said with the down payment, I would argue that that might help a little bit in the sense that because there might be more demand, more houses might go on the market because they think they can actually sell now. So,
but that there's a net supply. Like there's only there's only so much supply. Homes. So how is that helping to build homes? Because just because more homes come on the market, that is not helping with
well, the supply issue. But again, right now, if the homes are on the market for 45 days, again, that's still I get technically a buyer's market.
Oh, okay. So you're looking at supply differently from what it is that we really need. We need more homes.
Oh, in general, okay.
In general. So that's not helping to build homes, but I will agree with you that they can help to possibly cause more activity, which is what you're kind of stating, right? Because there may be, we definitely have a supply problem. We all know that, but inventory is climbing.
Yeah.
So is it really a supply problem or is it a demand problem? This is what they're saying. So the government says, well, you know what, it may not be a supply problem, because if we weaken demand by making it much harder to buy homes and making it much harder to get financing for homes and things of that, if we weaken demand so much that that nobody can buy a home, then you got too many homes on the market.
and when you say, I guess, the increased supply, do you mean like Toronto, or you mean Canada, or like what?
I'm staying within the G. This is where I live. Okay. I'm not really looking throughout all of Canada. It's different in different places. If you look at Newfoundland, they're not having a problem with the number of homes that they have. British Columbia is, but New Brunswick isn't.
Because in Toronto, is there even that much land to? I know there's they talk about the green space all the time. I don't really know what that is, but is there that much land to actually build? Because I know when they do build, they're building like these stacked townhouses where we're looking more like New York, where you have like all these like. There's one by my house where across from the same place where they had the mall, the strip mall they tore down, right, where you have these townhouses right behind it, where you got no green space. You have your you have your frontage, which is nothing, like there's no green, and right behind it, that's where you park. And again, no,
And you have no backyard.
there's no
I know,
backyard.
I
There's
hate those.
there's no front yard.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's somewhere to live. It's a bed, but again, if you're talking about everyone wants these detached homes, there's nowhere in Toronto to really build a whole bunch of detached homes. Like you don't have the space for. Basically, you're gonna have to go farther and farther out. Like whether you go.
And then you're gonna pay good bucks for them.
Well, I'm gonna partially agree. I think there's lots of space. Personally,
For detached homes?
for any kind of homes, personally, I believe there's a lot of space. I drive by open space all the time. However, I do agree that the space is limited. We've used a lot. But because of all of the people that we have in municipal government, which happen to be long-haired, frog-loving,
What's
tree-hugging.
long hair got to do with frog
Because
legs?
I don't got long hair, I got short hair.
That's
So
because you can't grow no hair.
Right, so I wouldn't join their
Well, you
club.
can, but it's in patches.
And they're tree huggers and they're frog counters. So they're going around and they're saying, oh, you can't build a house here because there's 574 green frogs and we have a shortage of green frogs. So there's no house building here. I happen to be more interested in the human beings than I am in the frogs. And I know when you talk about the butterfly effect, if you do this, you do that, then it's kind of worse. I'm a little bit blind to that, let's say. I'm a little bit more callous to that, let's say. Because I even though I don't think I've ever eaten them, I would be up to eating them if it meant frog
picking the
legs.
frogs?
Frog legs, if it meant that we would have more housing.
You
I'm just
would? I
saying.
would
I think
cook
so. I would try it.
I wouldn't cook them for you, so I don't know how you've eaten them.
I guess I kind of hear you, but at the same time, I think do we have a housing problem or we have a population problem? Like we have so many people jammed
It's a combination.
Yeah, jammed
right.
in the space. Like Canada's a huge place, but the issue, whether there's an issue or not, is that most people are jammed into Toronto and they're jammed into
Yeah.
Vancouver.
Where the
right?
jobs are.
Well, yeah, I guess, yes, but Yeah.
Who wants to go live
Yeah.
somewhere where there's no job? So
well,
what are you doing?
There's no jobs per se. There's jobs, but they're not these high-paying jobs. But at the same time, instead of paying $1.5 million for a home, you're paying $300,000 for your home or $400,000 for your home.
And you can't afford it because you're not working.
You're working.
So where are you working? Where are you working?
You're
If
working
you go
at-
out into the farm, you either
Yeah.
own the farm or
not farm,
and
but
they have two workers, their son and their wife,
but
and that's it.
well, I guess in Calgary you're on the oil sands. I
Where are you
guess.
going? There's a variety store, and they have 4 customers a week in their variety store. It's just
Where are you talking about now?
Anywhere outside Toronto, which I'm
outside
sure
of
a lot
Toronto.
of people are cursing him right now.
well,
I
you
don't know
what?
because I don't know. Hats off to these people because I don't know how they stay afloat when, there's so many cafes, there's so many. They're doing something right because their doors are still open and there's a lot of them. There's a lot of competition.
A lot of them, their doors are closed, sweetheart.
A lot of them are still open too, buddy.
Okay, buddy. Okay, buddy. Oh, shoot.
Going back to my roots.
Yeah, it definitely is an interesting time. It's definitely an interesting time. Don't really know. I think I remember. Okay, in 1989. I remember the market kind of
Ooh,
crashing.
we're going back.
Yeah, we're going back. I remember driving around. The
8.
offers that we were doing at that time, we weren't really selling. Well, we were selling homes, but we were selling agreements of purchase and sale.
Oh, yeah.
So we were selling the contracts. And people were buying one contract over the other because every week things would go up 5,000 and change like that. So they'd buy a house and then just turn around and sell it the next month and make $5,000 or $10,000 dollars, just like that. So paper was being flipped and flipped and flipped, but then when came time to close, there was whoever was holding the chair was quite upset. They, so That was 1989, and there was no way of getting out of that marketplace because that marketplace failed. It didn't stop. Like our marketplace here stopped, and it stopped in March of 2022. But that marketplace failed. So are we going to have as severe of a downward marketplace? So then we had 1990, 91, 92, 93, 94, all negative, negative turns. So, and typically speaking, a bad year in real estate doesn't mean a negative price. What it meant was that there was no price movement, or the price movement was lower than the previous year. But in 1990 to 95, 94, and then 95, we had I believe it would have been a plus 1%. And then in 96, we had a negative again. Those were like real negatives that the marketplace faced. And now we're facing real negatives again. We're not facing there's a difference between being negative over last year. In terms of last year, we had a 4 or 5% increase, and this year we only have a 3% increase. That's negative. The market's slowing. Those are the kind of things that we used to face. But today, that's not what we're facing. Today, we're facing an actual negative number. So we're right in the crux of the great crash of 1990 with very similar numbers. Like, I believe the first year, we'd have to look at it, but I believe the first year was somewhere around 8%. In 1990, 1991, probably around 6, and then 8% again, and then 4 and 1. I believe there were sort of numbers like that, those negative numbers. And this year we were at like -6. But then at -6 on $1 million is huge. Whereas -6 on 180,000 wasn't as big, but it still felt huge. And so I don't know how easy it is to get out of what we're into right now, because the numbers are so big. But we are seeing a huge resilience that I could never have imagined in this marketplace, where prices are holding. Like, if they're coming down at like a 1%. They're not just like falling off a cliff. And I'm very surprised. But there is one thing to keep in mind, and that is the cost to replace a home. So, you can't have replacement cost of a home being $2 million to replace, let's say, the current home, but the purchase price being $400,000. That's totally illogical. So I think that we're seeing, because of the cost of living has gotten so high, that we're seeing a real stabilization in the marketplace, and we're seeing small declines. And I think a lot of it has to do with the cost to actually replace and rebuild. And so what happens is that for builders, they can't just go and build a home and sell it to you because the cost to build it is so high. And so I think that's stabilizing the market. I think that's what's happening there, even though we're seeing negative prices. Buyers are not happy with the negative prices that we're seeing. Buyers are saying it needs to come down more, it needs to come down faster. And we haven't even got to the place where we're seeing full buyer signals. We're not seeing months of inventory, only in certain condominium categories in certain areas being at 6 months. We're not seeing that yet. We're still seeing the 3-month average. We're not seeing in list to sell ratios being in the 30%. We're not seeing these numbers right now. So So we're still sort of seeing more in a balanced market heading towards the buyer's market. So it's going to be interesting when those indicators are able to move their way all the way down the line into the buyer's market, and we're seeing a stagnated marketplace, and we're seeing, buyers really holding back and sellers needing to sell. We'll see what happens to the marketplace if it does take a great dip. But it's important to note that yes, we had our big movement, and since then it's all been small little adjustments.
It's checking, okay. There's a gap.
Ooh, good breathing.
I was
Carrying you guys.
I was gonna jump in, but there was no place to double dutch inside of that rant there. But getting back to what I was talking about before with or we're talking about with the pricing and living in Toronto and the costs. I did a little bit of research while you were on your 20-minute rant there, and if you want to live in Timmins, or Timmins is a 7-hour drive from Toronto, according to my quick web search, in Timmins you would make, on average, according to CMHC guide online, $72,500 after tax, right? And a home out there, you're looking at, I think it was around 6. Right.
What size of home is that?
I'm not sure, but again,
Average. Just talk the average.
Again, and my point really,
1,500 to.
my point really is though, again, you're looking for a place to live. Like, again, maybe it's not the biggest place, but you want somewhere your family can live, right? So if you're willing to go into these kind of outside areas, you can find yourself some deals. And I find another one here, Elliott Lake. I'm not sure how far Elliott Lake is from Ontario, but for Elliott Lake, I'm seeing homes on their board for like 250,000, 300,000 average.
Okay.
Yeah.
So again, the thing is, I think what we've been programmed, especially if you live in the GTA, if you live in even above the outskirts, like Boneville's so technically GTA, but like we've kind of been conditioned to like the city life type of thing where we want to be close to all this stuff. We want to be able to go to our concerts. We want to be able to go to all these things. Which again, don't get me wrong, I've been here my whole life, and I'm not moving out to Timmins or to Elliott Lake. But if you're willing to do it, in Elliott Lake, from what I'm seeing here, again, I had it pulled up, it just left me. So Elliott Lake, again, 50-cent house for sale in Elliott Lake, 185,000. Again, I'd have to do a bit more research on this. Although I do see someone that's still to happen with our price range. And in Elliott Lake, your average income is
That's
around
up near Sudbury.
40.
Or maybe not near Sudbury,
Okay.
but that way.
Yeah, so if you want to go to your concert, you're going to be making a day trip out of that.
Yeah, take you 3 days to go and see the movies.
I'm pretty sure they have a movie.
They probably have movies in the park, Randy.
In the winter. So the thing is that how many people earn 6 figures up there? Like
Probably not
Yeah,
much.
but
Not
you
much,
don't need to
but that's
if
the
you're-
point.
if your houses are cheap.
If your house is 600,000, I don't
No,
consider
no,
that cheap.
No.
but Elliott
Okay.
Lake was 250 or something?
Yeah, but there's a population of 6. So
No, listen,
even
there's nothing
even
wrong
to
with
get
small town living, Randy.
no,
There's
I'm not
nothing
saying
wrong
there
with
is.
that.
I love small town living,
Okay,
but
so don't knock it.
no, I will knock it when we're talking about the average person.
Maybe
They've
some
got a
people
life.
like the solitude.
But they've got a life. They want to see their family. They want to be able to have a proximity to what they know. Like what to pick us up and then okay, well let's move to the desert. It's warm, and it's cheap. You don't even need a house because it doesn't even rain. So you can just live there for free. There's no jobs or anything, but who needs a job if you can
No,
live
there's
for free?
internet, man.
Huh? You can live for free. You don't need a job.
My
need lizards.
point is,
Exactly.
for those of you, especially if you have, again, if you're willing to deal with that kind of strain for a few years, I'm online right here right now. 3 plus 1 bedroom, 185,000. 3 plus 1, 229. Another one, 199, 220. There are some for 640. The 640 ones are like mansions, though. 249 for his place. Same for 1,000. I don't know what this. I don't know what that. Oh, 1 bedroom, 1 bath. So again, the point is, if you can get there, and if the best thing I would say is if you can have a Toronto job where you're working from home, or working from home here, you can pay off this mortgage if you have a good family income where you're each making 80 grand a piece. You can pay off this home in a good time, then maybe keep it, rent it out, move back to Toronto, And again, the point is, we always talk about things outside the box. This is one of the things outside the box where maybe you rough it for 2 to 5 years somewhere like this, and who knows? Maybe when you get out there, you don't want to come back to the city life as well. So.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm gonna throw a monkey wrench into that. I was speaking to somebody just a few hours ago. We're both in the GTA. I don't know where they were in the GTA, but I was hearing every fourth word.
What do you mean?
Because the internet.
Because I don't know what it was.
So you're saying the cell phone's not going to work?
I don't know. I'm just saying we're in a very heavily populated metropolis, let's
Okay.
say. And we've got cell phones everywhere. Everyone has one. Even 5-year-old kids have one.
Okay.
And we are having problems hearing each other. We're at home. We have the best internet because we have to have it. It's not because we want it. Don't like paying that. I think it's a ripoff. But we have to have the absolute best internet that's available because people rely on our advice, rely on us being able to do things with speed. And there's times we're having problem with our internet and that. So now you move up into cow country, and I got nothing against cows, but the thing is, now you got to do stuff for your work or talk to people or that, but that's all you're hearing. You can't do your work. You can't make your calls. You can't do nothing.
Because
so do you think you're going to maintain this $100,000 job?
You're doing your work in the pasture beside the cow?
You know what
Are you milking this cow too while you're doing it?
I'm just saying.
That's his new job, Anthony.
You're trying to maintain this $100,000 Toronto job.
When you
can't
started this
speak
rant,
to-
I thought there was actually a real
There
point.
is a point because you said that they can have their $100,000 job and live out there.
No.
But
I didn't
when
say
they
that.
live out
I
there,
didn't say that. I said it's a possibility.
I know.
For saying,
but-
and even I have family members who, again, you go online and find jobs where you're working from home and they're working like 2 jobs at a time.
No, I understand. My point being is that there are some considerations you have to make. You got your Toronto job where you're making your 6 figures, and now you're trying to live in cow country, and that's
And
okay.
if I have a real world example. I have a real world example.
If it can happen.
I have a real world example. So I've been learning about copywriting. There's one copywriter who he was working a full-time job for a while. His dream was to own an RV and just be able to travel.
Mine too.
Travel while working, and he does that now. And he says sometimes yes, but he was upfront with his business that because he's traveling, and this is I would say this is even more of a you're traveling RV. That's more at least if you're living in this remote place, you still have internet, you still have satellite internet. There's options.
But it's
That's
sporadic.
data.
Because we're sporadic and we're here. We're here.
It's not
We
that
have it.
sporadic.
Again,
It is pretty sporadic.
you might be right, but you might be wrong. So if it's sporadic, then maybe. But just because you're out in the country, doesn't mean you have internet. It's not like a third world country. Internet is again. You have satellite internet. You have your cell phone internet. Again, will they have as many options we have here? Probably not. That doesn't mean they don't have a good product out there.
Yeah, I mean, we got Mike.
Argue that
We got Mike here, who goes to Sudbury. Yeah, Mike, how is your internet when you're in Sudbury? Is it as good as the internet here?
I would say I don't notice any difference. It all depends what kind of connection you have.
Not what you're expecting,
Wow.
was
Well,
it?
there you go. Well, Sudbury
Wow.
is pretty populated
Mike says
compared
it's not
to.
that much of a
I get it, but it's internet. It's not like it's like
Do you use it a lot,
if
Mike?
we're going to a third world country where there's they don't have the technology, okay. Just because you're going 7 hours out, this is what people who are from the small cities feel like when they talk about people from Toronto talking about because I don't live in Toronto I don't have all the stuff. Yeah, I have the stuff. I just don't have 1,000 of them. I have maybe 2 because you don't need 1,000. We have 1,000 because Radius and they're just trying to jack up the price and whatever.
We
you
go to the
telling me-
Caribbean and we
Exactly,
still
yeah.
work. So you telling me I can't go up to cottage country and work?
It's not so easy. We have
No one said it would
problems
be
with-
easy.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. But you got and my point being is if you have a 6-figure job in Toronto, that job is not going to be super easy. There's going to be demands on you.
And obviously,
Can you
I was
meet
giving
those demands
I was
being
giving an
in
out of the box
remote?
situation.
How many issues have we heard through COVID when everybody did that? Do we hear a lot of companies complaining
They're
that
all
they're
moving back, Jack. So how come they didn't just stay?
That's because they were all at home working 2 hours and instead of 8, and the companies didn't like it.
And then now they're at work working too.
Companies are rebelling. So, yeah, but my point, I'm being a little tongue in cheek, but my point is that yes, it may be possible, but there's a lot of different things to consider. And today, jobs aren't all that excited about you working from home. There's a
and
big fight right
My
now.
point with this
between-
is I wouldn't think this would be the norm. This would be like 1 out of 1,000. 1 out of like people. Obviously, most people don't. If you've been in Toronto, you're not gonna want to do this. But there's a few who might. That is
Yeah,
my point. Yeah.
I agree with that. There's a few who might,
Yeah.
you know, and they want to get away from maybe their spouse or something.
He's saying that because I told him yesterday I need to get away from him.
Oh, yeah. You said that yesterday?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
and pretending he didn't hear it.
Yeah. You said it yesterday.
Well, don't be cracking jokes, because I got some comebacks.
Whatever. Here we are.
And you got two minutes, Randy.
Yeah.
Average sales to list price. Average sales to list price has finally dipped below 100%. So that means that now buyers do have some more negotiation strength on average, right? So this is a good thing. Months
Well-
of inventory.
Sorry, I was going to say, I think too, some of the inventory that's out there has to be sold.
Yeah, some of the
Right.
inventory has to be sold.
People
but
don't
is
have
it-
a choice but to sell their homes.
We
so-
went into a marketplace that was 1 in 4 properties are selling, a very tough marketplace. We look at the average dollar per square foot, advise our clients on what they need to do to be one of the 1 in 4 that are selling, and not look at the 3 in 4 that are not selling, because those guys are trying to get prices that don't exist anymore. And so here we are.
And sometimes you gotta be a little
They're
patient
they're
too,
sold.
right?
They're sold, and it took 2
Yeah.
weeks. They're 1 in 4. So it is possible to navigate the market, but it's not easy. You really have to. You really have to know what you're doing to be the person who sells a home. Inventory is 3.4 months on average. The inventory in average, and what that really means is if we were to stop right now bringing any more homes on the market, it would only take 3.5 months almost to get rid of the inventory. So inventory is still rather low. It's just move out. Like for example, 3 months and under is a seller's marketplace. So we just finally moved into the balanced marketplace phase. We're still nowhere near the buyer's marketplace phase. So and we've got negative pricing. So can you imagine when the market moves to 4, 5, 6 months of inventory at 6 months, 5 and 6 months of 5, you're approaching buyer's market, 6, you're fully in it. What's going to be happening with prices when we have pretty aggressive things? And sales to new listing ratios are at 39.3%. So we are still on that cusp. It's a balanced marketplace at 30% is balanced market, but we're still on that cusp of being near the seller's market place, and we're still seeing negative prices. So I do not know how, as the market shifts from that strong seller's marketplace that we've had for years, with indicators that are all on the cusp between the seller's market and the balanced market. They're not on the cusp of balanced market and buyer's market yet, and we're seeing negative pricing. So with that, we've got some way to go to get to the buyer's market phase, and when we do, what's going to happen with prices? We're going to see. But for all you people who are sellers that are thinking, oh, let me wait to sell, I think you're going to be selling at a lower price than you are now. So don't be keeping a house vacant and waiting to sell. That's silly. You're losing money. So I just wanted to say that.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being with us again. As always, it's been your home, your money, and our lives on realtor101.com. Have a great rest of your week.
Bye for now.
Bye for now.
Thank you for listening to Your Home, Your Money with your hosts Randy, Jackie, and Anthony right here on Reality Radio 101.